Welcome to SVL Free News and Views for Wednesday, May 15th. I'm here at the Statesville Police Department. I'll tell you why I'm here very shortly, but thank all of our sponsors: Mitchell College, Randy Marion, Piedmont Healthcare, Blue Harbor Bank, Fast Fields, Key to Escape, the Escape Room, and Statesville Family YMCA. In fact, the Escape Room is actually right across the street here from the police department. If you haven't checked that out, do so today. All right. We're here at the Statesville Police Department, and back in January, City Manager Ron Smith appointed David Addison from the Durham Police Department to assume the role as police chief here in Statesville. So we wanted to take the time to meet Chief Addison and ask him a little bit about his philosophy of public safety and how he wants to run the department here in Statesville, and also ask him about the tragic event down in Mooresville Police Department, the tragic shooting of K-9 Officer Jordan Sheldon, and how he intends to try to minimize the events like that and how you can react to that. He told us today in the interview they've actually sent some of the officers down to the Mooresville Police Department to help out with that situation. And also, if you haven't done it yet, go to svlfreenews.com and sign up for your email edition, which comes out every morning at 5 a.m. SVL Free News, always local, always free. So let's go in with Mike Fuhrman and talk to newly appointed Chief David Addison of the Statesville Police Department.
Thanks, Brian. It's my honor and privilege here today to be at the Statesville Police Department with Statesville Police Chief David Addison. Chief, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the honor.
Now, I know it's been a very difficult 10 days for your officers as well as your brothers in the Mooresville Police Department, the Sheriff's Office, all the first responders in Iredell County, and the surrounding counties who've really embraced the Mooresville Police Department. Let's start for a minute by talking a little bit about your department's response and how you've tried to help out in Mooresville and what that's been like for your officers.
Because we're sister cities, and although we have Troutman between us, we're sister cities. We're impacted by their loss. We still have officers walking around in sort of a fog because they couldn't believe it would hit that close to home. In light of everything that happened, when I got that call last Saturday night, I wanted to give Chief Williams some time to kind of absorb and kind of take in everything that happened. I didn't want to be the person calling him when you're in the midst of chaos, trying to say, hey, what do you need? Well, at that point in time, he just needed to be able to get everything moving the way he needed it moving. We started that day by sending officers down to Mooresville to answer 911 calls for service so that their officers can get a break. And we'll still be down there until Tuesday night. So we've been down there just about every single day since this has happened. I met with Chief Williams to kind of talk to him, and the one thing you kind of understand as a chief is you can't have a bad day. So he has to be strong, and he has to make sure that he's supporting everyone and be strong for the community, but I know it's going to hit him eventually.
Now, how has this impacted your officers? I mean, clearly your officers, many of your officers probably knew Officer Sheldon.
Yes, they did.
Is it more difficult for them to come to work today than it was 10 days ago?
I would say yes and no. It's difficult for them to come to work because they know that we're missing a brother in blue. It's not difficult because they know that what he did is what we must continue to do, and that's to serve the community. Make sure that we're representing law enforcement appropriately in this day and age.
Let's back up a little bit. You've been on the job as chief now for about 3 months.
3 months.
Heard good things from your officers that I run into around town. They said you've been very clear about your expectations and in explaining your philosophy of policing to them. Maybe just for the good of our viewers and our community, tell us a little bit about what your expectations are of your officers and how you expect them to conduct themselves.
What I expect from the officers at the Statesville Police Department is to make sure that we're professional at all times. One of the things I started when I got here as chief is I'm doing one-on-ones with every employee. So we have 105 employees, and that's sworn and non-sworn. I'm right at about 33 that I've completed so far. And I meet them where they are. Some of them have to come to headquarters and walk through the executive suite. I go out to where they are. If they want to meet out in the parking lot, if they want to meet wherever, we have that. That dialogue was so great because it's unfiltered information that you normally wouldn't get. As a leader of any organization, when you walk in, someone's whispering in your ear. They're telling you the information they think you should have. But when you talk to the employees, you get the information that you need. So I want to make sure that we're treating our employees with respect and that they have equal opportunities to some of the things that they want to do. So when they encounter someone outside this building, they treat them with that same level of respect. So I mandated inside and outside the building that we treat our employees with respect so that everyone outside the building is treated the same way.
And how's the response been to that message?
It has been awesome. The reception since my arrival has been incredible. I'm very grateful and very honored to be here, and I look forward to overcoming some of the things that we have to get through. I was explaining to the employees in one of our staff meetings that we're going to have some growing pains, but on the other side of this, we're going to be so much better.
Now, tell me a little bit about some of your short-term goals for the department.
Short-term goals for the department, we're actually going through, and we just cleaned up our promotional process. How would you mean by clean that up? Is prior to my arrival, the chief was able to pick whoever he wanted to get promoted. So if you had 5 people compete and you had a ranking from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I could pick number 3. I didn't like that because if you pick number 3, you've got 2 disgruntled employees, number 1 and number 2, who did everything they were supposed to do to get ranked and to get this position. You said, regardless of what you've done, I'm going to pick who I want. So we took that process and changed it around so that if you rank number 1, you will get the position. Now, on the flip side of that coin is we're now holding you accountable for the work being done. The only position that the chief of police will be able to appoint will be as an assistant chief. But captain and below will all be in a process. And we're looking at going outside with assessment centers. So we're looking at many different facets of someone, not just because someone interviews well. We want to make sure they have institutional knowledge, make sure they have a great background, and they'll be competitive on those levels as well.
Now, one of the issues the previous chief has dealt with, and probably the chief previous to him, is retention of your best officers. And there are many factors to that, one of which is obviously pay and benefits. And I know that's something the previous chiefs have worked on. Is that something you've already engaged the council and mayor on? Is, we have to do more to support these officers, value what they do with their paychecks?
Yes, but we also need to get the community involved. Because you're looking at officer salaries, we're starting off at about $37,000. Well, Hickory is now starting their officers off at $41,000. And although money is one of the main driving forces, because you're looking at quality of life issues for officers, they want to be able to live in a community that they serve. But if they can't afford to do so, they have to live elsewhere. So we want to bring them back into Statesville. The second thing is people don't usually quit jobs, they quit bosses. So making an environment that people want to come to every morning. Sometimes they're willing to take a little bit of a pay cut, not that much, to come to a place that they're going to enjoy. That they know that they're going to have opportunities, and they know that they're going to be able to create friendships and bonds that they will have lifelong. So I think that's part of it too.
Now, not to put you on the spot, but how many openings do you have right now, and what are you doing to fill those? Right
now, we have about 6 openings right now. We've got one gentleman we just recently hired, and we've got hopefully about 4 coming out of our next BLET Academy. My goal is by actively recruiting, and everyone inside of Statesville Police Department is a recruiter. We don't have just one singular person doing it. So part of it is, again, what we were talking about earlier, once the employees are happy to work here, you're willing to tell someone else, man, you should come work at Statesville Police Department. This is an awesome place to work. So that word of mouth is going to be very important for us as well. But we have to start from the inside, making sure that the employees are happy about coming to work and serving the community.
Now, you have a pretty distinguished career and academic record in Durham. You've been with the Durham Police Department, is it 24 years?
22 years.
Oh, sorry, 22 years, and you have a law degree?
Yes.
And an engineering degree, and you passed the bar exam?
Yes.
Clearly, you had many opportunities along the way. You could have stayed in Durham. You could have gone many places to work. Tell us a little bit about why you chose Statesville and why this is such a great place for you to be at this point in your career.
I chose Statesville when I looked at the demographics, when I looked at the economy, when I looked at everything, the jobs, the income level. I knew this was a perfect place. I knew there was a lot of great things that were going on, and I wanted to be come in at the bottom level and watch it work its way up. I see in time, if you invest in the infrastructure in Statesville, this is going to be an outstanding place to live. The department has been phenomenal. The officers and the talent that we have in here is incredible. Utilizing them to the best of their ability and to the best of our departments, what we need them to do that's going to be our challenge, is to make sure we're utilizing people correctly. But that Statesville has been an awesome community. I actually bought a house and I live in Statesville, so I'm committed. I'm not one of these chiefs that will live outside the county or not live in the community that he serves. I live about 5 minutes from headquarters, so my goal is to make sure that I'm resident in the community. But I do love Statesville. It's been enjoyable, every second of it.
Well, Chief, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
We'll look forward to visiting with you again in the future.
Yes, thank you.